Hello and welcome everyone to Spotlight podcast today. My name is Evgenia and I'm leading this podcast every Thursday at 12. We meet every Thursday at 12 live in order to discuss issues such as recruitment of staff, the best talents, keeping the best talents, making inclusive products, broadening your markets through inclusion and diversity, and all making your organization a place where people are proud to work at and customers are proud to associate with. So all these issues, there are many more, they actually can be cooked down to three words: diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Belonging, it's a feeling of people who work in such inclusive organizations. And actually, now it's not a luxury anymore and not a goodwill. It's a business strategy and survival strategy for many companies to become inclusive and diverse. And that's the point of our podcast. So if you are interested in those issues, if you're an employee of public, private organization, big, small, medium, any sphere, it's actually relevant for all of you. So follow us on YouTube and meet us every Thursday. Follow, like, and spread our videos, our podcast, so more employers can get hands-on insights and methods and recommendations. And today we are going to speak about IT sphere. This is a huge sphere, and also startups. Startups, it's a new way of doing business. It's 305 million startups started every year. And this is a game where you can win it all, or you can lose it all. And actually, it's not totally luck. It's also some concrete recommendations and mechanisms which you need to follow in order to get successful. And this is what we will talk about today, with concrete insights from a company which is called NERDZ LAB. It's a Ukrainian IT company. And this is actually a company who developed our Spotlight platform. So they're really great. They are the easiest cooperation I've ever had in my life, to be honest, even though I'm not a technical person at all. But it was an easy process for me to build a website with them. And also, I chose to invite them because they are a successful startup, of those few who survive, because they grew from 4 co-founders in 2017 to 80 people. And they have clients all over the world, inclusive us sitting here in Sweden. So let us talk to Volodymyr, who is CEO of NERDZ LAB, about what is their secret and what are the concrete steps to survive as a startup and to be successful in scaling up. So Volodymyr, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you for such a nice introduction. I'm pretty good, as I already told. It's kind of busy morning, but when you have a business, it's always like that. Each morning is unique and each morning is busy. But I'm here to help and answer any questions you or your audience have.
It's really cool to have you here with us. So let us start. Volodymyr, so as in my introduction, I already said that most of startups fail, even though it's 305 million every year start, but 90% fail. And why do you think why is that? Why is such a high mortality rate among startups?
Actually, there are probably many issues why individually each startup can fail. One which can be really concrete is that I think a lot of startuppers, they are like living in pink glasses, thinking that today they are having an idea, tomorrow it's implemented, and in 3 months they got millions of investments. But the real world is different. Startupper needs to be ready that it's a hard work. It's really hard work. Once I was on a venture fund meeting, and there was a pretty good presentation with one venture capital guy who explains that how do you decide if you are okay to go and eager to create your startup. You need to understand that the next 8 years will be not help, but they will be really hard, and you will be working hard just because it's not your ordinary job that you are waking up, going to job, doing some work, and that's it. There will be hard moments, there will be easy moments, and you need to be ready that you will be working late. You will need to be ready that there may be some sort of a depression because the market goes down. Some of your ideas may fail, and you need to have a pretty good mental state to move forward. Most probably, a lot of startups doesn't understand it, but when it happens, they like stop, and that's it. Additionally, you need to also have a plan. I can tell that most probably already worked approximately with 400 startups so far, which is kind of huge amount comparing to other companies. But realistically, around 10% of them come with a detailed plan what's after. Like most of them just coming, telling, okay, so I want to develop this. I don't know where I will be selling. I don't know to whom I will be selling. I don't know what will happen if the audience will give me a critical feedback and I will need to roll out some new functionalities or change what I have. But I want to develop, and that's it. And usually they come with, this 3F investment: friends, fools, and family. So usually they came with this sort of investment, and because it's easily granted, they don't understand that you need to plan a year ahead, or at least some step ahead, what's next and what you will be doing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It always amazes me when I talk to startup owners, who's like, and I ask how often do you meet your customers? They say, "Oh, I meet occasionally at events or once a week or whatever." This is something you need to do every day, and also to have really understanding of who they are, to have a plan how to meet them every day and how to reach out, and otherwise it's just your idea. And as you say, if your friends or your parents are willing to donate or contribute, this is but this is not the way to do business. I agree. This is
Yeah, in general, I think this is just a comfort zone that human don't want to go from, and it's comfortable just to constantly develop, find some issue not proven by audience or by your customers, try to fix it and continue developing, but not communicate with your audience directly. Unfortunately, yeah, it never works. Like the one who drives you is your audience, not your personal think that it's worth doing this way and not another.
But why do you think we procrastinate? Because yes, I see myself in that. It's comfortable to keep improving your product, perfecting it, and this is always need a little bit more time. But why you think is that? Why do we procrastinate?
I think, look, so being honest, most startuppers, they are the guys who are trying to do something perfect. Realistically, they are like those who is not like, oh, working, that's it, let it be. Realistically, they are always want it to be perfectionized, and when you see the problem, you're trying to fix it, or you're trying to fix it in comfortable for you way. And usually, such guys, when you are perfectionized, you are hardly getting the negative feedback. Meaning, like, at least for me, it's pretty hard when somebody tells that, yeah, this was a decision, but this was a bad one. And that's why, like, easier not to ask that, did I do it right? Easier not to ask at all.
Відбій повітряної тривоги.
I'm sorry.
Увага!
Ukraine, so it's but
Yeah.
don't you need to go to the
Fine.
protect? Yeah,
Yeah, it's fine.
you don't care about protection, right?
We care. We care, but currently it's important to
Yes.
give it insights. Therefore, this is the first part regarding why we are trying to do it perfectly and why we are constantly trying to improve like the product even without asking the audience. The big issue with that do you know the story of Stripe? The Stripe is a payment system. Who don't know? The Stripe, it's one of the leading world payment systems.
Yes.
Who is currently, I'm not sure, but most probably they're having 70%, maybe 60% of all online payments. They're huge, really huge. And before them, it was pretty painful for development to integrate any online payments. And they decided that they will handle everything with a pretty easy API that any developer can integrate within a week. Like currently, a week for payments, it sounds crazy, but that time it was like it was whoa. And they did not build everything as it is right now. What they did, they were handling all payments by hands, meaning that you are like telling, yes, this is online payment, but in reality, on the backstage, there were sitting a bunch of guys who were, okay, send this check that to that bank, this check to that bank. They were not caring about solving the problem ideally. They were caring about solving the problem. And that's the problem that a lot of startups don't understand. They will try to invest their last money into solving it in the most advanced way, without even proving that they can earn money from that. Like you can cheat, you can do such things, and it will work most of the time. And a lot of startups did like that. They are successful and have billions right now.
Yeah, I also heard a couple of those stories when you actually build a kind of exterior just in order to even check the market, check your clients before you invest in big IT solutions, because the IT is what cost it. For example, in our case with Spotlight, the most costly post was IT, was development of website. But yeah, before that it was a huge research and with customers and everything before we invested. But before you pay all this money for something like this, your platform, it's really good to even manually sit and to make a good customer research. I definitely agree.
Yeah. There is one cheat which is frequently used by ventures guys. What they do is they build a landing page with action buttons, like by some point-to-click actions that you're interested, and then they buy $500, $1,000 advertisements in their audience they're interested in a specific market, specific region. Therefore, they generate a traffic to their website, and if this traffic is pressing these action buttons that they are interested in this product and then they want to follow further, they understand that this is a good way to go, and it means that this idea is worth investing because the traffic that they granted from a specific market was pretty convertible, and then they start building the project and invest money there. It's kind of easy cheat to identify if it's worth idea to continue.
But okay, because it's a question which I wanted to ask her later, and but anyway, some ideas are front runners. Your customers don't really know they need it. I mean, when Apple started, when Steve Jobs started, they didn't. He actually did it something from his imagination, from his head, and then people understood they needed it. So, what to do with those ideas which are totally innovative and people don't ahead of their customers? How to deal with that in this case?
Yeah, so it's very interesting question, very interesting, because like there is a huge topic to discuss. A lot of the ideas they were invented before the time customers were ready for them. I think even Apple was not the first guys who built such a phone. It was built before, but Apple built it in the right time, in the right place. That was good to have, and that's an issue, because the first one who is building such an innovative idea, he is getting the hardest path. After he is done, all others are trying to get the fruits from the tree he found. And a lot of the times there was cases in which like the others, they got more than the first one who did this pass. It's unfortunate. There is such a book. It's called From Zero to One. This is a book that describes that there is startups which can refer that they are number one, meaning that or they are the first billion startups. It's Apple, it's Google. By the way, Google also was not the first one. There was before Yahoo, and they just created something better, which is also a good example that Yahoo died and Google survived, and they're still doing their job just because their product was better, and that's it. To be honest, if I would recommend to not be the first one, because unfortunately, if the city never had the burgers and you are the first burger in the city, you will have a success. You will do a very hard path to have a success, and you will get it at some point. But everyone else who will open their burger store, it will be so much easier, and there is so much more chances that they can do it better than you and get your customers. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not paying off that good. And yeah, how hard it can be here, but unfortunately, that is true.
It's a hard truth, because exactly I'm reflecting very much on Spotlight business, because diversity inclusion, we are not new, we are not coming up with the terms, but we are pioneers in a way. We are doing it to make it concrete and manageable. But I notice it's quite people are used to, when it comes to these things, diversity inclusion, it's so vague. It's not IT, it's not business. So many companies solve it by writing a strategy or ticking the box by making training for all employees, and that's all. But doing, like, investing, like in our case, that you invite someone who makes a thorough analysis and really integrates it as a part of your business. And so I see that it's not readiness there. So we are not actually pioneer when it comes to the topic, but we are pioneer how we look into concrete solution. Do you think that we are too early with this idea, or do we have, I'm just asking you now, business advice, basically, which is not IT? What do you think about this kind of issue?
No, I don't think you're too early. I think like one in this book that I just mentioned, From Zero to One, it's like the completely new product, like completely new stuff, which is opening, I'm not sure, VR, right? This was something new created like a few years ago, and it was, boom, nobody did it before, and it's currently Facebook invested a lot of money there, and they're struggling to get it done. This is one. I would think that your business and your concept is 0.8, right? It's borrowing a bunch of different concepts at the same time and trying to make it unique. Yes, it's hard because, again, nobody understands the value, nobody understands why and what, and you are trying to get it to an audience, to get it to the businesses, what exactly you are offering. And of course, if there will be a competitor who will be doing the same or can use the same strategy, it will be much easier because the business already see, yes, this is the value you are bringing, and so on. Unfortunately, but you will have probably a better position when you will start. The only thing that you will need to keep it. Like, if you are eager, you have power, after all these fights, after all this road, you will go over to keep this position, you will be leading. If you will turn off and at some point you won't be eager to fight, then your competitors can easily overcome, just because the road is there, like you just need to walk it.
This is the point, and I think for me, startup. The question I started with, why they fail, because many people think startup is a sprint, but startup is actually a marathon. You keep running, you have your legs sore, you are tired, you are sweating, but you keep running, and then those are win. And this is like difference between winner and loser in startup. Is a winner is how do they say? Winner is a loser who tried one more time, and basically what you are saying is to keep trying. But fine, we will come back to all those advices and recommendations a little bit later. Let's hear about NERDZ LAB. If you make elevator pitch about your organization, what would it be?
Depends to who I'm pitching. If I'm pitching to customer or I'm pitching to our developers, because it's two different. Like, we are working on two fronts. The first front, we are trying to sell to customers to get a new deal. So from another front, we are trying to get talents from the market, because the talent is the guys who are creating the final product. In general, we are the organization who was initially created from the mindset that developers can be treated in a proper way with a proper environment, and as a result, we can easily get talents from the market. And when you own the talents, it's always easy to get a customer, just because you own these individuals. Therefore, we decided to go, like, to start it from all around, instead of focusing on customers and getting all the investment and polishing this market. We're focusing on getting the talents into the team, and then customers can come to us when they understand, when somebody will refer, that we have, like, the guys who can work in a deal way.
Okay, so your core success, can we say, that you attract the best talents, talent acquisition.
Yes, probably in this business, the human is probably the key. Like it's bad to say resource, but if you will compare, I'm not sure, any product development, it always starts from a resources. If you have access to a proper resources, you will always deliver a good product. And I'm not telling like technical product, it can be anything, butter, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You need to have, if you have a bad milk, you will always have a bad butter. That's it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but tell me the business where a person is not important.
The
I
business
mean,
one person is not important. Actually, this is partially startups,
yeah.
partially, but not in a person's terms that it's not important. How to explain it properly? What is the benefit of having a technical startup? It's scalable. The biggest problem with non-technical startup is a human, because
Mhm.
human is things that makes you scale. IT outsourcing that we are doing right now to scale, we need to get more talents. To get more talents, we need to be on the market that have these talents. To be on the market that have these talents, they should constantly appear there. And it's like painful process to get it. How to scale your startup, technical startup, Airbnb, for example, invest more in marketing, get more servers on Amazon. That's it. You scaled. And it's simply like partially in ideal case, it's a money printing machine. You invest $1,000 more, you get 2,000 more value. Like that's an ideal case. It's not
Mm,
always working like that, but that's the technical startups. Why I told that it's partially not dependent, because the guys who is developing your startup, it's really important. You need to understand if you're a technical startup. In this case, it's very important what technical stuff you have there. If you build it in the wrong way, you
mm,
will be pretty hard to extend and scale. Therefore, it's important, yeah, for human who built it, but then growing it, you can. I know the company which got 120 million investment, and they have 20 developers, but they have 120 sales. Just because they tell, okay, we built it to the stage which is operating and closing our market needs. Currently, we
mm.
may build some additional features, we may build some like complementary products to this, but we are selling. The more we can sell, the bigger market we can cover, the better it is. It means like currently they're like not investing into humans, they're investing into more marketing stuff and so on.
But why did you invest? Because the idea of NERDZ LAB, of your when you were young and unexperienced IT
Uh,
guy, why did you want to invest in human capital anyway? You IT.
I can tell because we are from Ukraine. Ukraine market, Ukraine is generally most probably 10 years behind the European market, and 10 years, probably 15 to 20 years behind the USA market. Uh, because of that, Ukraine has a pretty small percentage of startups, own startups, or it had. Currently, it's growing rapidly, but it had pretty small percentage. But we had very good mathematical education because we are the country from the Soviet Union, which had a powerful mathematical school. And as a result, we have a pretty good IT guys, developers. Therefore, when we were starting as a business, outsourcing was a good niche in Ukraine.
Mm,
And because you, like, in the environment you are living, that's who you are. Unfortunately, if the environment is not a startup environment, it's pretty hard to get a startup until you will get out of it. Like usually the Ukrainian startups were built either by some individuals who were keen enough, or some guys who got abroad or studying abroad. They were in an environment of a startuppers, of a business owners. They
yeah.
got this stuff, like how it works, where they can get the money, and then they get back with the startups. We were not in that environment, and we started the human business from the IT just because we were close to it and we know how it operates and we know the problems that it has.
Mm. And about Ukrainian startups, what this labeling, what you hear, that it's a like cheap workforce, which good developers, which is for me, I always personally get offended, not because I'm Ukrainian myself, but because like Ukrainian, for example, if we take NERDZ LAB, you who developed from scratch our Spotlight platform, it's extremely innovative. Like it's not only this pure programming, it's a lot of innovation and a lot of ideas. So if, in my understanding, I didn't know that we were so, like, Ukraine was so much behind. You talk about 20, 50 years. What do you mean by that? It
Look,
feels like
yeah,
an innovative country, for me at least.
it starts becoming innovative. The problem here is that the first echelon countries, they have 80% of startups and 20% of outsourcing. We are vice versa. We have 80% of outsourcing and 20% of startups. Why like that? Because first, like outsourcing, we have a pretty good tax model in Ukraine, which like non-comparable to any European country. Tell me the country who has 5% tax rate for like IT outsourcing. I know Belgium, they have 50 and 5. It's like it's uncomparable. But from another side, these countries, they have a pretty good compensation models for startups. Therefore, as a young entrepreneur, you firstly know that you can be compensated if you fail. You are willing to get this try. And secondly, you exist in the environment where you can always get an advice. Therefore, you know how to move it forward. I always tell to my friends that I can build, like as a Ukrainian, I can build ideal product. It will be 10% faster than product of a competitors. But after that, it's pretty hard for me to imagine how I should market it or where I should sell it, just because I'm constantly in the environment of discussion between my friends, between colleagues, how to do it faster, how to do it better, what is the user experience better here. But we are never discussing about like how to sell this product, where to sell the product, how to get the investment. Also in Ukraine, the investment process is pretty hard. It's really hard to get the investment from Ukrainian investor and explain him that it's a risk investment. Ukrainian investors, they are always willing that if I gave you money, you should return me something back. Like there are no other choice. In Europe and USA, it's different. They understand that there is a high chance that they won't get it, but there is a high chance that they will have 100x out of this investment, and that's fine by them. That's why I'm telling that Ukraine is kind of behind, because imagine that Ukraine had Uber. Imagine how huge tax base we would get into Ukraine from all around the world, because Uber, USA, they get the payment from Ukraine, Europe, China, probably, like everyone where Uber operates and takes the leading market. This is like the society who pays to USA. In Ukraine, we only get like a small piece of things that we're developing an outsourced product. It's pretty small. One big startup like Grammarly, which is Ukrainian unicorn, can generate much more than like 10 or 100 outsourcing companies, and it will be beneficial. But we are getting there. We are slowly getting there with our innovation model currently that we have in Ukraine and trying to be innovative country.
Ukraine has a bright future. I know it in my heart, and it's obvious. It's very near, close to us. It's in the right direction, and people are super innovative. So it's we're on the way. It's just that Soviet past we need to finally get rid of once, but it's a political discussion, not here. So Volodymyr, you wrote, and we when we prepared the podcast, that you in NERDZ LAB have a Scandinavian management model. It's like basically why for me it was interesting to hear your story. It's like you are really investing in people, and you grew to 80 people from 4 in these years. You are successful, a very successful startup yourself, and you help so many. So what do you mean by Scandinavian management system? Can you tell, and just tell for it's from the perspective insights for other startups who maybe can adopt some of your principles, like recommendations. It would be fun to hear.
Sure. So Scandinavian management model, it's a model. We can dig into it pretty hardly what exactly it is, but in simple words, it's all about people that work in your organization, and therefore, like when you do the good for people, it returns. In general, for example, it includes a flat management. In Soviet Union, as you already mentioned, they had a hierarchical management. Hierarchical management, it's there is a boss. Boss have like some guy who is working with him. They have a sub boss, a regional boss, and so on. And when, for example, an employee wants to get some idea to be approved, they're like going all these chains. These here, 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 and then like back. As you understand, firstly, it's pretty long road. Secondly, details are lost during this road. And lastly, the guys who are like on the top, just because it's like a tree view, they're getting a lot of things. The flat management model, it's when this employee can omit getting like through all of these lanes and go directly to this boss or send directly this request, and there like becomes a communication direct. It's like a flat space in which everybody, it can be always equal, but near like in ideal situation it's equal, and you can communicate on the level with the employees. The employees can communicate with managers or directly with the CEO or CTO and so on. That's one of the points. Another point, there are like a lot. For example, the work-life balance, which, to be honest, is a bit of a problem for Ukrainians also, because Ukrainians tend to work too much, and they think that it's good, but in reality, it's never good. Just because I had so many cases when, because of overworking, firstly, the employee were doing a bad job, because again, your brain has a limit, you can't work on a decent level. Secondly, they were burning out. Believe me, as a company owner or as a company in general, we will get more benefits if you are happy, not burn out just because you are working in a creative space. Like the brain, what is matter? You are not like putting bricks that you cannot think. You need to think, and the better you do it, the better the final result will be. That's why you need to value it much.
Give me a concrete what you do in order to, because it's a problem not only of startups but of any organizations. There are always the most ambitious and the best talented employees. There's those who tend to overwork, and how to control it, because of course you're happy when people work for you like and give their soul and heart, but how to balance it that they don't go to, as in Sweden there is expression to go into the wall. It's very popular, so not to enter this wall. How what do you do as manager concretely with your staff?
So in our company, firstly, the story for you, how lucky we were. Initially, when we started the company, we thought there was no such a thing, at least in Ukraine, that employees can work remotely or they can work very limitedly. Why? Because you have a stationary computer on a working place that you should always log in, and like you can't bring it. Therefore, when we were starting, we bought everyone, and it's still in our organization, a MacBook. Like we don't use a stationary computer. We give everybody a powerful MacBook so they can get it anywhere and use it at home, use it, I'm not sure, on a beach, on a coffee shop, doesn't matter. Just get it and work anywhere you want. Why we were lucky enough? Because when the pandemic started, the employees were unable, most of the employees in the companies were unable to work in the office. And a lot of companies, they started to move from like stationary computer side that's on the office side to laptops. But we were there. So that's one of the examples, tiny example, how you give the freedom to your employees. We never control the employees' working time. We don't care until the work is done properly. If you do it in 4 hours, okay, let's do it in 4 hours. My customer is happy, you're happy. Why should we care about your time? That's why a lot of the times when customers are asking us to track our hours through some monitoring tools, we are not taking these customers. We are telling like, you either trust us that we are doing a decent work, you can see our ratings in the Clutch or other review sources, or we won't work just because it embarrasses our employee and doesn't enforce them to work productively. Lastly, the issue that we solved not so far ago, which is kind of pity, We were giving bunch of the vacation. So we have 21 vacation day that you can use. Additionally, we have 8 sick leaves that you don't need to bring anything to us. Like you just tell, I feeling bad, you don't go to the work. And you have, I think, 7 or 10 day offs. It means something happened for you. I'm not sure, something with your cat. You can tell, I don't go to the work, and you don't go to the work. We don't care. So you value your vacation and you don't waste it, sir. And yeah, the last one, your birthday. If you have a birthday, we give you a vacation for free. You are simply may allow not to work in your birthday day. It's fine. The problem that we get is that if you're not using your vacation, you are getting paid fully out of it. But some individuals because again, probably in Ukraine it's pretty common to work more and get more because we are pretty passionate about developing ourselves. They were not using as a vacation at all and getting paid in the end. Yes, kind of from a business side, it's positive because the more developer do, the better is for us. But from another side, they're not resting. As a result, it will end up that they will burn out, they will do the worse their job, and they will quit. And I don't want my developers to quit. We educated them. We are happy to work with them. The team staff are happy to work with them. We know each other good. We have a balance between different employees. And now you leave just because you burn out and you want to find something new. It's unfortunate. That's why, currently we are forcing to take the vacation. We started it this winter.
I think it's needed because I agree with you. This is the most valuable asset, and people, and of course, you, as you say, you invest a lot in the development, and it's moreover, it's extremely costly to hire new. Not only because it's like a gap when the person already knows your business and operates independently. To take in you, they calculate, at least in Sweden, it costs around 50,000 euro to while from recruitment stage of a new person, while you're on board and everything, and you're lagging behind the processes and delivery. So it's extremely costly, and it's much less painful and cheaper to keep your stuff as well. So it's a good business for you apart from. But what I like very much in what you said, this is this trust system, both like in a flat management, because this is also something, it's obviously Scandinavian system, something which is practiced in Sweden very much, and also in my organization. So, and this trust, when people can come to you with all issues. The other side of the coin of this, though, that you as a manager might be overwhelmed if you are too involved. Maybe some managers end up micromanaging. And also in a startup, we know the problem is not that you have too little to do, you have too much to do, you have too many tasks, you say yes to too many things. So how to balance to being this flat manager, to build on trust and to be available all the time, and to kind of save your time, save your space to do what you are there to do, to strategic issues and to selling or whatever. How do you balance it in practice? What's your advice?
So in general, everybody of us had this issue, and I personally was micromanaging a lot and trying to control it because you always feel safer when you control it rather than someone controlled, because you can feel that you have it to do it right. But I always ask a question: why should you pay to your employee or to your vendor, and then control what this vendor is doing, instead of paying him and hoping that he will do the proper work? If he won't do the proper work, do a feedback loop. If it won't change, unfortunately, then it's not your employee. You should trust that this developer or this employee will do a necessary work because you're paying for that. It makes no sense to pay to deliver a pie and then again sit in the same car with the delivery guy and deliver a pie to you as well. Like, what is the sense of that? You're paying for HR. Let the HR do your work. Do not control it that much. Control from the high level. There is such a it's not a theory, it's a practical stuff. Zoom out technique and zoom in technique. If you want to see what's happening, you are zooming out, getting the top level problems, like the general problems. Developers are not happy. It's like the very general problem. And then you're zooming in into specific areas. Developers are not happy because coffee machine. Developers are not happy because micromanagement of this project manager. And you're like solving like that. You should always be in a zoom out problem and trust that your employees or the vendors that you're hiring will solve this issue. I think you felt that when you were working with Volodymyr, another one, that he is keeping it under control and you don't need to get involved. So that's the type of employees you need to search. You need to understand that you are paying like this employee money and he will do it the best way he can, and that's it.
And to be, yes, I agree. And working with the NERDZ LAB on the other side as a customer, you really feel this. As a customer, you feel the difference when it's this nervousness and micromanagement and this hierarchy in organization, or you feel how smoothly things are done and how you are taken care of as a customer when it works properly. This Scandinavian management system, and I know what you tell, it's not only a word in your case, it really works, at least what I see as a customer. I never felt during these 2 years we collaborate any problem. Everything is solved directly. It's clear communication both with externally with customer. And I seen and I observed how communication internally works through our contact person, Volodymyr, and Anna, who is technical, and Anna, who is project manager. So it really works in your case. So that's why it's really fun that you share. If you can just tell a little bit more, like for those startups who are technical, is this client orientation. How you, from inside, how did you build this system so client feels so relaxed and so in chill and taken care of, and with this good communication? How did you build this external link?
Yeah, so in general, there are a bunch of things that lays under it. Firstly, why we are working with the startups and with the growing businesses, just because when developer they are like painters, they artists, they create something, and that is true. And nobody wants to work in an old legacy code and be one among 100 developers and do something that's not valuable. Everybody wants to create something new. Everybody wants to use new techniques, etc. That's why we are constantly working with startups and growing businesses, just because developer can feel his value in this business. He can feel how the things that he is building is impacting the business growth. That's why the first piece is that our employees, I won't tell that it's like 100%, but like with a high percentage, they care about the project, about their decision, and about the project success. Most probably you may experience that sometimes they may answer like in non-working hours just to answer to you. And we have a direct communication between employees and a customer. Like we don't have this hierarchy that customer, delivery, project, employee, and then like employee told something back. Like it's always like flat. Customer can discuss with employees, it's open chat. Project manager can inject something when it's necessary. Delivery manager can do it the same. Another part that we already discussed, it's actually a delivery manager guy. So usually in most of the companies, how it works, that there is one delivery manager for 100/200 employees. And the key responsibility of this delivery manager is to ensure that the projects that will be delivered to a customer will be successful. So it applies like from a business decision to the tactical decision and so on. But as you understand, is if you're managing as a delivery 100 to 200 employees, most probably it's very like high level. For example, I'm a CEO of a company. We have around 800 employees, and I know about a bunch of the project, but on a very, very high level. Like I don't know a huge details of a specific decision. That's why we did it a little bit different. We highly injected a delivery manager into the project, so that this guy can have 4 projects, 5 projects, up to 20 developers controlling at the same time, but he can be doing a proper decision and highly involved into a project with starting from a business decision of yours, because I imagine that Volodymyr gave you a bunch of business advices how to do and what to do, and ending with the technical decisions that you don't care. For those who don't know, the delivery manager is the guy who is previously a tech guy. So for example, 6+ years of technical experience, and this is a guy who has also some sort of a business education. So it's like a combination of a businessman with a technical guy. And because of this combination, he can give valuable technical advices, at the same time understanding the business needs, because it's not technical, sometimes can go a little bit different roads that a business and technician will tell you that we need to build a rocket, while the business has money only for a bicycle, and you will stop building only on a rocket hat, and like nobody gets a value from it. That's why it's important to have this like two-sided business plus technical mindset.
Yeah, but it really works, and this, as I said, just to sum up, this internal culture and communication, it really mirrors, and customers really feel the difference. This is what I wanted to say. First of all, you have very clear business model and operational model in your organization, which works. And I can imagine it's trial and error how you ended up there. But also you can notice this Scandinavian management system, you can notice it from outside. This is what I want to highlight, that it's not only making it easier for you, it's also making for your customers, it's making it easier. So it's a part of your business, basically. But Volodymyr, we don't have so much time left. I would like to just you briefly tell about NERDZ LAB, how you evolved so quickly since 2017 to now, from 4 to 80 people. And of course, it's unique. It's not what you are telling now. It's not that everyone now needs to copy paste every IT startup, but it shows your journey. I mean, it shows how it's possible, how you did it. So what were your steps after you decided as a okay, I stopped to work as IT. I want to start my own with Scandinavian management system and hiring the best tech talent. So what did you do next, and how do you end up here having clients all over the world?
So we had a idea that we need to do a business from like when we were kids with my twin brother. We were preparing ourselves that we will try to get it done at some point of our life. It even was to the point when we were deciding which technology we should start developing, because I'm in the past a developer and my brother is a developer, and which one will be easier to sell when we will start a business. So at some point we decided that let's try doing it with the least effort we have. Like I have 4 hours of a free time in evening. Why I would not try to get some customers from a freelance and start doing it from there? So first customer get, second customer get, third customer evaluated my work, told, okay, I want Android development. Okay, I'm not Android developer, let's get Android developers. So we have 3 guys. The business started with a kind of funny and at the same time a little bit pity story, because the customer who I was talking to did not choose us, did not choose me as a developer, but in 3 months he got back to me telling like, look, you were a pretty good candidate. I choose another one just because he was a little bit cheaper. Can you please evaluate what this candidate like that I choose did? I checked the code base, and unfortunately this candidate was fooling the customer. He didn't develop anything, and I told, look, it's unfortunate, but there is nothing. You were fooled. Unnecessary situation. And in 2 months, we understood that this customer is one of the biggest companies in the US with a design, who was doing some of their pet projects. And they came back to us and look, last time it didn't work out. You gave us the review. We're happy to try it one more time with you now. And they got us a project for 6 months for 2 developers per technology. So it was how much? Approximately 8 developers to start. And it was like the starting point for a business. Then I called my brother, called Volodymyr, that you know, told like, look, there is an opportunity. Let's try. If it works, it works. If it not, we are losing nothing. We can always get back to the work. There is a minimal risk. And that's how we started. The first big decisions that we made, like understanding that I'm not the guy who can do everything. I'm a developer. Maybe I will evolve into a businessman, but I'm not a sales. I'm not a marketer. If we want to evolve, we need to hire a sales guy and we need to hire a marketer. I won't do that. We hired it, and we started getting more and more resources. And there is always like a point when you're like working on a certain level, then like you're growing, you need to establish a new process into your company, kill old processes that's not working. And it will come naturally because you will see the issues that happen inside the company and within your customers, within your employees, and you will try to solve it. One of the examples that I want to give you is another company, a friend of mine who started at the same time. They decided to go another way, and they decided to not hire a salesman and say a marketer, and they were doing everything on their own. At some point, they got so overwhelmed that they were unable to like get back. Like they were even unable to get a sales to fix it just because they had no time to recruit. They were unable to get a recruiter just because they had no time like to get a recruiter. And it's like the endless loop. That's the story. Currently, they have 8 employees, and we have 80, just because you should be responsible for your areas.
Clever. It's like Richard Branson, this guy who is like a huge. He has dyslexia, I think. So he said that I early understood I'm not good in accounting. I'm good in like development. So I never tried to learn accountancy, but instead I got a good accountant at the beginning. So the same you did. And this is actually the plague of startups, when the owner or a founder tries to do everything. It's better to find the flexible model to involve professionals. So it's just inside and from any startup, inside and perk for you to for you all who are listening to us, who are doubting to start a startup or just at the beginning. Just don't try to do everything yourself. It's from experience. So so here you are now, you are 80 and you're working, you have a lot of customers, and you are not lacking work. This is how I understand it. But is it something you regret, Volodymyr, if you came back to 2017 again, or 18? Okay, 17, it's bright when everything starts and it's a new idea. It's always easier the first period when you just start run your marathon. It becomes hard somewhere in the middle, when this catches up you, when it ups and downs, when it's like all this hard work, as you said, these years. If you go back to not to 17 but 2020, when it's like, when it starts to, you start to feel that it's hard, what would you change? What maybe mistake or something you would do differently?
Firstly,
Exactly, scaling up.
just to summarize, you're really like telling the truth here. I were not expecting how hard the business are comparing to how hard it are. Like it's like how many countless nights that I were not sleeping because there was work, and it's like it starts sometimes to become usual. Then you start fixing that. What I would change, actually, the things that I really regret is an opportunities. Meaning, because through the business you will constantly have some opportunities that you will be granted and you can use them. And a bunch of them you can simply omit. There were a bunch of the opportunities that we simply didn't understood that we can use them, or didn't play it right. For example, 2021, there's a big boom of IT. Everybody printed money. There is huge market for IT industry. We did not grow like did other companies. Other companies had 2x grow. We had maybe 10%. That's it. We were growing like in a natural way. Why? Just because we kept the old processes, old ways of doing sales, old ways of doing marketing, and it was working as previously. While in reality, at this point, when we see that the market is full of new customers that you just need to grab, you had to invest more and be more aggressive in marketing and more aggressive in sales. And that's in that way you can get more deals. That's one point that we
Mm.
were unable to grow how I wanted it to be. Uh, Another point which I really regret, it's just because of our, like, this is the first business we are learning as well. Choose a primary market.
Mm.
Currently, we are trying to do that, and this is like, it's very hard to be good at everything, right? And
Yeah.
when you're selling, and when our company is selling, we are good in the startups, but startups are very different. There are fintechs, there are healthcare, there are, I'm not sure, TikTok, social media, different startups. And if we would go initially within some market, till this set time, we would have probably a pretty good name in this exact area. For example, if we would go into a healthcare, which we're doing right now, and we are trying to get our name in the healthcare, through the 6.5 years, would probably be not a leading, but we would have like a good name. And in this case, when you have a good name, you are not searching a customers. Customers are searching the way to work with you
Yeah.
instead. And
Right.
that's the thing that we did differently. And we currently in a spot, we understand it, and we are
Mm.
trying to go this way, but we lost a bunch of time. But it's an experience.
It's experience. You know this guy on YouTube, Alex Hormozy, this American businessman in the gym and health care sector. So I'm listening sometimes to his podcast. So he said that actually you as a startup, as a beginner, you say yes to everything, and you are spreading thin. You say yes, so you are not building a concrete profile, and this is what you are losing on. Actually, those who reach the top and who are most successful, they say no to most of the opportunities because they are not actually opportunities. It's just simple money. You're spreading thin. So his advice is like focus and do like business. It's not like um, something you great idea and you are there. Just be super concrete and
Mhm.
consistent. Every like we do this podcast every Thursday 12 podcast in a concrete field. Don't say yes to 100 other opportunities because then you will neglect your main thing. And this is what basically it resonates with what people who got very successful businesses what they say. But you shouldn't be too shy. I think yes, maybe you missed a couple of opportunities, but you are still a startup with 80 people and all over the world clients, and you are just at the beginning for you. So I it's and all those what you mentioned now, for me it's like lesson learned, which makes you smarter and stronger. So basically you make better decisions for each time, for each such mistake. So it's a learning opportunity. But if you God, I could talk to you for 2 more hours. It's so interesting to your insights and your story. But if you are just now giving one concrete advice to any startup, it doesn't need to be IT, who are just not those who about to start, because this, as I said, period, when you have this idea, you are so thrilled and love yourself, you're so great and creative and innovative. But when you have started and you notice, fuck, it's a hard job. What advice do you give to these people?
Mm, Actually, I think we can make it as a conclusion of this talk, because first, like, you need to understand that you can't do everything, right? You
Mm.
need somebody who will help you, and you need to trust. Like, you
Yeah.
cannot control it. Like, leave it. Give this person who you hired or who you're doing startup with, do it on his own. Yes, he may make a mistake. He will learn from this mistake. Next time, it will be better. You will uh, have a free time to do something that's more important, and that's your responsibility. This is the first
Yeah.
advice. Second advice, be ready. Like, it will be harder. Like, it's like a roller coaster. Like,
Mm.
now it's easy, now it's hard, or even harder, and it will be always like that until you will get to a sustainable model that constantly works in like a money printing machine. And the last one, it's like you are not. It can be heard rough, but you are not unique, and you are not the wisest guy here. Like, everybody thinks that they are like unique and they know everything and they can do better than everyone. No, Listen to the experts who advise you something, or get the help if they propose this help, and understand that there is always someone who is better than you and more clever than you. Like, you won't be able to like relax and think that, yeah, it's easy. It's constant case for other customers that we had, that sometimes they think that they know everything. Like, again, we developed more than 300 projects. We saw the failures, we saw the successes. I know how the customer react to this action and this action, but you don't imagine how much times when I was telling to customer, look, I can advise you go this way, I was regretted that, like, no, I know better. This is my startup and I will do it. And this was most of the times that was a mistake. And like, don't be in this spot. If somebody advises you that they're in this area, think about that. You're not always the best. Like, the same, we are here. I know the companies who grow from 8 to 200 in a year and in a year and a half. And like, we could do better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very valuable because, of course, everyone loves to hear their own voice and think, yes, and it's good to keep to your idea, to your vision, but you are paying people for a reason, and you want not people who just follow you and you telling everyone what to do, because it will be very poor product in this case. But you are paying people for their competence to make your idea, to make your product richer, to really diverse and rich. So, God, it's been amazing hour. It went for me like 2 minutes, very quickly, because it's very interesting to listen to your insight. I'm really grateful for your work, what you did for Spotlight. And also, I wish everyone who listens for us today, or who will listen in recording, that really contact NERDZ LAB. They are great. I can tell it from my experience. They can make any of your dream happen, and they do it professionally. And it's really, even though you're not technical, it's no pain for you. You are just, it's very easy to work with them. And if you listen to us today, and or you will listen to us later, don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel to Spotlight platform, because we have experts like Volodymyr every Thursday, and these insights, something you do not find like everywhere. It's something which is very unique. It's people who are really experts on their topic, and they can share with you from first words. And also we do it live, so you can ask your questions or put comments. So it's super valuable. Follow us and support us and spread, so more people get to know about this great expertise. Because, as I said, diversity, inclusion, it's not a buzzword. It's something, it's a survival for modern company. So, Volodymyr, thank you very much for today talk. It's been super valuable.
Thank you too. And yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you. Happy to help.
Have a great day, everyone who listened to us, and have a great day, NERDZ LAB people. See you next Thursday at 12. Bye-bye.